Hey guys, welcome back to another segment of A2D Agree to Disagree. I'm Michael, and as always, I'm here with Bryan. Just got finished watching Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and that was actually ended up being a pretty good ending, man. So, we have we got Boston traveling to Golden State for Game 1 of the final starting Thursday. But first, man, how do you feel about how that Game 7 went? Like, we can't really pass by. That was a good game. That was a good series. So let's talk about that real quick. You know, were you surprised at all? Did it go the way you thought it was going to go?
We predicted a close series on that one, right? We all thought it was gonna go 6 or 7 guaranteed, and that one lived up to the hype, that's for sure. But Miami had home court. Jimmy Butler, man, had a shot to get that lead at the end. Jimmy buckets, game 6 and game 7 might get forgotten now because they're obviously not advancing. But man, Jimmy buckets put on a legendary couple games, dude, for them. He tried to will his team, man. So shout out to the Heat. They dealt with some injuries. I know Tyler Hero, he didn't show up at all, and it was a close series. And if he's Tyler Hero, the sixth man that we had all year, then maybe that series is a little different. But either way, Jason Tatum got the first Larry Bird Eastern Conference Finals MVP, rocking the Mamba on his arm. Boy came to play, man. But not even just him. I know he gets all the credit, and rightfully so. He's a leader. He's a superstar. He's ascending. But man, Jalen Brown, he's been balling. That dude has been clutch for the Celtics. He's a perennial All Star now. He's been there a couple times, and he's obviously looking there to stay. He's been to the playoffs now. This group has been together for a while, and so they're battle tested. And Al Horford been around a long time. He's finally getting his shot. Marcus Smart, he's been with the squad for a while. Udoka, dude, he's the right coach at the right time. These guys, he's exactly what they needed. He brings that toughness. You see Tatum take the challenge defensively, starting in the first series with Durant, and even just now down the stretch, he was guarding Butler a lot. He's a star and he takes the challenge on both sides. So the Celtics, man, I think that they match up pretty damn good. I'll say that. Golden State, the Dubs, dude, they've been the best team throughout when healthy throughout. I mean, the Suns obviously dominated the regular season, but when the Dubs were rolling, when they're healthy, you were worried about them for a reason. I've been saying that they're the favorites, and they have been for me. I think I'm leaning towards the Celtics, though, man. I really do. I think I'm leaning towards. They just for some reason they just got something special. But then same thing, Golden State, man. Clay's back, and Curry's chasing history. He changed the game forever. One of the most influential players in NBA history, but he's chasing GOAT status as far as the point guard position, in my opinion. If he secures this finals, then for me, Curry, he goes over Magic for me. I know Magic had 5 and Curry to Curry's 4, but Magic had Kareem. He had Big Game James. He had a bunch of Hall of Fame talent. So does Curry. I know he's got Clay and Dre, but he's the leader. He changed the game for me. Like, yeah, man, if he can get this, then I put him as the GOAT point guard. Probably, dude. This will be what number 4 for him. I think, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's four. Going back, I want to step back into the Game 7 real quick, what we just saw. Because the Celtics going into 2022, man, back in January, they were below 500, and I don't think that gets enough credit for what Brad Stevens and Ime Udoka have done for that team. They made that trade where they shipped out Dennis Schroeder. And he was a role player that probably would he didn't have he wasn't great on defense, and he didn't really have a high shooting percentage when he was with Boston, but Ime Udoka really took that team and they built him around defense. I mean, he pounded out the defensive player of the year, but see, every starter for Boston had a vote for defensive player of the year. So they hung their hat on defense. So when you're
For
getting
first
teams,
team defense, yeah, that for first
yeah,
team all
yeah,
defense.
yeah, yeah. So when you're getting that kind of output on defense, defense win championships, man. I mean, that's how it is. They have their superstars, they have their scorers, they're a well-rounded team, they're well coached, they have a great executive, and man, they have the fan base. I mean, Boston's one of the elite fan bases in all of sports, let alone basketball. So, I root for him. I like Jason Tatum. He was wearing 24 for Mamba on his arm. Like that's where he gets a lot of. He made a couple shots tonight that or Mamba-esque, so he has a lot of influence in the game there. And Jimmy Butler, he played his ass off. He could have hit that three with a couple seconds left that propelled them into the lead. And honest to God, man, like I thought that was a good shot. I know he's not a 3-point shooter, but he was trying to take his team on the back like he did all series, and he was trying to make a play. And I mean, imagine if you'd have made that shot. I mean, we probably were sending, let's be real, we're probably sending Miami to the finals. So I like the shot. I mean, I would have made it, but he got too big. The moment got too big for him or something. I don't know, but no, I like the shot, and it just didn't happen to go in. So that's what I want to say about Game 7. Going into this next series, man, I was in San Francisco when the Dubs closed out the Mavericks, and that city has a buzz on them right now, man. I mean, I wasn't around when when they won the finals a couple of years ago, but they're buzzing around that team right now. They have home court going into Game 1, Game 2. They're starting to put it together. And the one thing I'm going to say in this series that I can see might play a difference is they have the championship experience, whereas nobody on Boston really has been there before. They have playoff experience, Game 7 experience, but not championship experience. So I'm leaning towards Golden State for that reason. I don't think it's going to be a blowout of a series. I'm rooting for Boston, but I think the Dubs are ultimately that they're on a track, because you're right. Phoenix is, they were regular season squad. They should have made the Western Conference Finals, but I don't think even if we would have made the Western Conference Finals, we'd beat Golden State.
Yeah, man. How about Clay? 6 in a row. He's been healthy. He's been out the past 2 years. This is his 6 finals in a row. The Dubs have been there 6 out of 8 years. The last 8 years they've been here. Mm-hmm. So the experience, Steve Kerr, he's got all kinds of experience compared to Udoka, has been here his first time. But honestly, that don't matter. This dude's cool, man. Everything Udoka does is right for me, man. They match up so good. They have the big guy inside, Robert Williams. They have Horford, that can switch, and he can hit shots too, man. That dude he fits perfectly with Tatum, Brown, and Smart. They can switch everything on the perimeter, and that's what it's super important, because that style of ball that they're going to be facing, one guy can't. It's not like if you got one go, Smart, he's a really defensive player of the year, he's going to guard Curry. Curry moves so damn much, not one guy can guard him. It takes a team effort. It takes multiple guys that can be able to switch onto him. Jaylen Brown can do it. Tatum can do it. And even Big Al ain't the worst guy to do it as far as a big can do, So they got Grant Williams coming off the bench. He's been huge all playoffs, dude. They got wing defenders that can rotate. They're the best defensive team in the league. And, man, I think they got the best player in the series too. I really do. I think Jason Tatum is the best. I know Curry's the most influential. He's chasing GOAT point guard status, all that, but he's never been that guy. And even in the playoffs throughout his career, he's a 40-plus regular season 3-point shooter. In the playoffs, it drops down to, I think, 36, something like that, 37. Like he's never been that guy. Iguodala has one Finals MVP, and then KD's got the other two. So this is huge for him. And all that being said, this playoff run, he's been doing that. He's been closing. And that's always been kind of my knock on Curry, is he never closes. Game 6 Clay, so many times he's been the guy, but he's still not Clay 100% yet. So Curry has taken it upon himself, getting credit to him. He's closed some games. This is, to me, his most single best playoff run that he's had of his career for Steph Curry, what he's doing right now. And this is his moment. This is his time to do it. But, man, like I said, I just think Boston, they match up, dude. They actually struggled a little bit with Memphis, who did better than I thought they would do. But Memphis, they got some wing guys kind of like Boston. They ain't scared. Boston ain't scared, man. They're going to come in here. They're a scrappy bunch. They're going to fight. And when they get into a close game situation for Golden State, they haven't really been in a lot of those. They were in either blowout wins or almost blowout losses, it seems like. Close games. Boston right now, I know the Golden State has experienced the past how many years, but right now, fresh off another Game 7, these guys, Boston, dude, they got guys that know what it's like to perform in these type of situations, and they got a guy who I trust the most in those situations, and that's Jason Tatum, dude. So you know what, Boston in 6, put me on it.
Do you think those 18 games since the start of, since the start of May, do you think that's going to start, or I guess last week of April, do you think that's going to start playing a factor? Because they have played two 7-game series in a row, whereas Golden State's kind of skated a little bit. They ran through Denver, they ran through Dallas. Yeah, they had a little bit of trouble with Memphis, but let's be real, Memphis was a 2 seed too, man. That was probably their toughest test so far, and Memphis was one of the top defensive teams too. So I mean, they've played, what is that, 11, 16 games, so 2 less games. Am I doing the math right there? I think I am. I'm not sure. 3 less games than they have. And, do you think that it starts to play a factor a little bit? I think it might. The championship experience might be. I think game 1, I think with a little bit extra rest. I mean, this was a pretty brutal game 7. I expect Golden State to come out pretty fresh. I mean, they've been here before. They're not going to be scared either. I mean, yes, Boston's the number 1 ranked defense, but Golden State, I mean, they're sneaky defensively too. So,
That hold on,
um,
real quick, you just reminded me, Gary Payton is back for the
yeah,
final.
yeah.
So
Well,
that's an added boost
he's
to
most
Golden
likely
State.
back, so that's going to put a little bit a dent in it. I could see Draymond trying to give Tatum fits. I mean, they match up pretty well defensively on the other side of the ball too. So I mean, let's not get too ahead of ourselves about who's scared and who's not. I mean, I expect a really really good series. I think both these teams are the teams that were destined to be there. I mean, I can honestly say that as a Suns fan. Golden State was gonna when they're healthy, they're probably the best team in the West. And Boston, I've liked Boston since they made that trade, and they made their adjustments back in January, February. They started bringing it on, and Jason Tatum, man, he's really coming to his own. First team All NBA, like he's probably I was trying to fight for MVP votes for him, so I really like Boston, and they're the team I'm going to root for out of my heart, just because I want to see Tatum get one. But my head, and sitting here on a podcast, and if we're going to be honest with each other, like I do think Golden State wins it. I do think it might go 7, and I think that bloodbath of Game 7 will happen. But I just think that if it's in Golden State, man, they're really tough to beat in that building. This isn't Miami, this isn't Miami, this isn't Brooklyn, and this isn't Milwaukee. This is a Golden State team that is hungry. They're very well coached, and they have a lot of leadership all over the place. So I'm gonna say Golden State in 7. And as a fan of basketball, I really hope that we see 7 games.
Same here, dude. Well, I mean, we're not fans of either team, so straight up, hopefully it goes 7. And if it does, I'm with you, man, because the Dubs, that's probably the best home court advantage in the NBA right now. So for them to beat them there in a winner take all game is going to almost be impossible. So that's why I went Boston in 6. And Boston, they just won on the road in a Game 7. They won on the road several times in Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. So they won in Brooklyn, obviously. So
Yeah.
they've been winning on the road every round so far. So
They won because they won Game 5. Did they not win 3 games in Miami? They might have won. They
I
might have
think,
won 3
yeah,
out of the 4 in Miami. So yeah, that's a good point. They're a good road team, and they're not scared to go into their. But
see, I
again,
said they're not scared. I'm not calling any other team scared. Don't come at me, Dubs fans. I never said you were scared. Ain't nobody scared. You guys are both here for a reason. Best 2 teams. You know, I think maybe a little bit more well-rounded Golden State because their defense is underrated. If they're not in the top 5, I'd be shocked because Draymond, Wiggins,
they
Gary
were at
Payton,
some point. I don't know if they
Clay,
ended the year like
like
that.
they bring the defense. I know they don't have a bunch of guys for nobody in defensive player of the year conversation, none of that crap, like Marcus Smart was, and they got all these first team votes. But Golden State, they do play D. They share the ball. They just in that closeout game, 45 field goals, 36 assists. So I told my players that, dude. Like that's the kind of ball that I love to see. They share the ball. That's how Curry's been doing it since he's got there, and that's dangerous. They can reach levels almost that other teams can't reach, honestly. So they're a scary team,
Yeah.
but Boston, I don't think you're gonna go off on Boston like that.
I have one little tidbit, that I just thought about right now, and I haven't fact checked this, so I'm gonna have to fact check this later, and I'll definitely text you if I'm right. But correct me if I'm wrong, but both these head coaches played for Greg Popovich in San Antonio. Did,
Yeah, 100%,
did
hundred
Steve
percent.
Kerr did Steve Kerr play for Greg Popovich? I'm
Yeah,
pretty
hundred
sure he
percent.
did.
Yeah,
So
100%.
hey, that could have something to do with it. Is Greg Popovich's retirement year, so maybe that had a little bit to do with
Pop
why
gave
coaches
gave
are.
his boy a little favor too. He traded what's his name, Jack White from the Spurs over to the. I know Horford. That Horford move gets a lot of credit, but that dude White had a big conference finals, dude. He just had some big shots today in Game 7. That dude, he came on. He put Pritchard on the bench. Pritchard was playing good the series before, but this dude, man, I think it's Jack White. I know his last
Jack
name's
White.
White. Dude
Jack
with
White
the
is
forehead,
Kobe.
yeah.
Oh,
Dude with yeah, something like that. Dude, that
yeah.
forehead goes way back.
There's Colby
Either way,
White
yeah.
too, but I think he plays for Chicago. I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
I know
yeah.
who you're talking about though.
Right, right. But yeah, that was a good move, dude. So Pop hooked up his boy Udoka. But yeah, he Pop. They're both part of the Popovich tree. That's for sure, man. They learn from the best, and these guys are some quality coaches. And yeah, man, I think the Celtics are ready, man. I think Jalen Brown is really underrated. He's another guy with the ball. He's almost the second guy in this series that I would want with the ball in their hand in a close situation. They if Golden State isn't up by you by a lot, then who's going to be the guy? Is it going to be Jordan Poole? Is it going to be Curry? They don't have a guy that they know they go to. Boston, everyone knows they got their two young stars that are ready and stepping up in these moments, and they got guys that they know they can go to in those situations and that they'll deliver. So they got
Yeah.
the momentum, man.
Well,
I'm
Marcus
going with them.
Smart, Marcus Smart, if there's anybody that's going to lock Curry up, man, I mean, it's going to be him. So, but the other way around, I mean, you got Draymond and probably Tatum. I mean, that's going to be something to watch too. Clay and Jalen Brown will probably be matching up against each other, and it's gonna be a good series, man. And I'm looking forward to it as a basketball fan. I'm looking forward to it as a podcast host that we can talk about this a little bit more after the finals. And I'm glad that it worked out the way it did. I didn't want to see Milwaukee back in the finals. I didn't want to see, I really didn't want to see Miami. I mean, they were there a couple of years ago. I respect Jimmy Butler, but I didn't respect Miami as the number one seed. And, I thought they were the third best team in the East. And I think if Milwaukee would have came in and walked into the series, I think they would have beat them too. So that's
Bringing
just
up Milwaukee real quick, man. If Chris Middleton's out there, then they very well
yeah.
could be back
My
again.
point exactly. And they still took Boston to 7. So no disrespect to, we had our boy who's a Heat fan on the last show. No disrespect to him, man. I never actually saw them as the true one seed. So hats off to them. They got this far. They got to a Game 7. But like Phoenix, you can't
That's how I felt
one
about
seed.
the
You can't
Western
close. You
Conference
can't
series.
close Game 7 at home, man. I mean, they weren't the true one seed. I think we're seeing the true one seeds going to the final, and it's gonna be a good series. And I can see it going either way, but my head just as a non-biased podcast host, man, I have to go with Golden State.
Golden State in 7. He's on record. I'm on record. Boston in 6. We got our votes in. It's gonna be a fun one though. I mean, 6 and 7. We both got some lengthy series. I don't think it's gonna be. I know the Dallas only went 5, but they were. Uh, the role players only
It
showed up
should
once in
it
that
should it,
series.
it shouldn't even went 5,
Yeah.
man. That should have been a sweep.
Yeah. So the role players didn't show up enough. In this one, I don't think it's. I know Tatum gets credit for being the star, but they got another All Star as well, and they got a Defensive Player of the Year. It's more of a team effort from Boston. I don't think it's going to be quite as easy for the Dubs. I think it's going to be a fun series. But man, let us know who you guys got. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Comment. Let us know who you guys have winning the finals? Is it going to be Tatum getting his first, or is it going to be Curry and crew getting their fourth? Let us know.
Peace.